Let's start today's video. So in today's video, we are going to see the compiler directives. So this is the introduction video. So in this video, we will go through the compiler directives, those which are mostly used, and in upcoming videos, we will see one by one the compiler directive with the example. So let's start. So what are the compiler directives? So in simple words, compiler directives are instruction to the Verilog compiler or simulator. They don't describe the hardware and they are not part of the RTL logic. Instead, they control how your code is interpreted, compiled, or simulated. And they always begin with the tick back tick. We can say tick timescale, tick include, like, and affect the behavior of the compiler or simulator. You can think of them as a helper tools or a simulation control, debugging, macros, and code organization. Why are they important? So directives help us in many ways. First is controlling the simulation time unit with the help of tick timescale, creating the reusable codes, and enabling or disabling the section of the code. Also including macros or header files. So they are especially powerful in test bench simulation and large scale design where reusability and controls are the key. So we'll see the type of the compiler directives. We'll see the overview only. So first one, we'll take the tick timescale. So this compiler directive is used to set the time unit and the time precision. And how we can define it with tick timescale with the time unit and the precision. Then next is tick define and tick undefine. So this compiler directive defines and removes the macro for the constants or the conditional logic. So here, if you use this tick define width 8, so here you are setting width value as a 8. So now you can use this width everywhere. Say now you want to change the width from 8 to 12 you want to go. So instead of going to each and every place, you can replace 8 with 12 here. Next is tick ifdef, if not def, else, and endif. So this directives used for the conditional compilation and often to separate the debug versus production code. If some part of the code you want to enable or disable, so with the help of this ifdef, you can enable this part. For that, you have to define the debug here. So here, what we are doing, so we have defined the debug. So if your file is having debug, means this condition will true, and we will enabling this part of the code. Next is tick include. Directive is used to include the external files like macro headers. Example, tick include defs.v. So define files we are adding right now. So let's take example. Let's say your define defs.v file is having define debug. So if you include this file, means this part of the code will be enabled in your design. So where are they used? So for the simulation timing, conditional debug printing, macro-based design using define for the width and constants. For the file management, using include to import macros for the cleaner code. So toggling the debug logic while if def debug is used.